you had found that, or the research suggests that students with a fixed mindset have been shown to be 58% more likely to show more severe symptoms of anxiety, as well as depression and aggression. And I know one of the key factors, or perhaps the most prominent factor in resilience, was reducing anxiety itself. So I thought that finding regarding fixed mindset was one of the things that perhaps we could develop within education to develop resilience. What else might you kind of point teachers or parents or even students towards cultivating?
Yeah, so I mean, I do think the development of a growth mindset is very important for developing resilience in general, so psychological resilience, but also to developing academic resilience. And there's various, and by growth mindset, I mean, broadly speaking, drawing on Carol Dweck's influential work in this area, the belief that our character skills and our abilities are not fixed but are malleable, are things that within our control to change to at least a certain degree. And this has been shown, cultivating growth mindset has been shown to have multiple effects, benefits for well-being, and including reducing anxiety, as you've mentioned. And that's why it's been recommended as a way of developing academic resilience, because having a low level of anxiety is one of the factors in Martin and Marsh's 5C model of academic resilience. So we need to have students have a low level of anxiety in order to have academic resilience. Now, there's a lot of work in education on cultivating growth mindset and reducing fixed mindset. So that's a good thing, because that can really help this, and it's something that teachers are very familiar with. But there needs to be more work on disseminating good research on this and effective methods, because often the material that's disseminated is extremely quick and extremely brief. There's definitely a need in education for more detailed dissemination of things in a kind of a more rigorous way, such that, because work on growth mindset has kind of become a bit of a parody of the way it's disseminated in some education circles, become a parody of what it really is. It's not just about, saying to people, you can't do this yet. It's about teaching people what exactly it involves, what exactly, cultivating a growth mindset involves, and in its various details, and how powerful that can be in education. But you mentioned other strategies for the development of resilience. I mean, I'll mention a couple, one of which is closely related to flow. The first is that in order to become resilient, you've got to learn how to fail at things, because resilience involves adaptability in the face of challenges, and you've got to learn how to recover from setbacks. And the best way to do that is to actually learn how to fail at things. So learning how to fail and learning how to cope with failure and recover from failure is important for developing your own perseverance, and then reducing the time in which you bounce back from things. That is to say, becoming more adaptable, that being one of the definitive parts of resilience. The second part of that is related to comfort zone, and this relates quite nicely to flow. So there needs to be a chance of experiencing adversity to develop resilience, because resilience is adaptability in the face of adversity. But you're very unlikely to experience it if you're always within your comfort zone. However, you don't want to move too far outside your comfort zone, because that can over challenge you, and that can also mean that you stunt your confidence if you don't do particularly well. So one kind of rule of thumb here is that you need to kind of find, as it were, the right point at which your skills are challenged, and you're just enough outside your comfort zone that there's a chance you'll experience adversity, but you're not so far outside it that you'll be way beyond your skill set, such that you're not going to learn much. It's a waste of your time and the time of others, and that you risk stunting your confidence as a result of it. And here's where we can connect it quite nicely with flow, because the so-called flow sweet spot, the kind of ratio between challenge and skills, ratio between challenges and experiencing a level of anxiety, and skills and experiencing or trying not to experience a level of boredom. You have to find that balance between where your skills are really stretched, you're right on the edge of your comfort zone, your skills are at their maximal capacity, and your challenges are too, and you're experiencing maybe a bit of anxiety, but you're not so far outside it, you're outside what Csikszentmihalyi calls the flow channel. And that's where we can kind of learn something from that. And Csikszentmihalyi actually writes in flow, he writes, in all activities, enjoyment comes at a very specific point, whenever the opportunities for action perceived by the individual are equal to his or her capabilities. Enjoyment appears at the boundary between boredom and anxiety, when the challenges are just balanced with the person's capacity to act. And that points also to the way in which this is very good for our well-being. He mentions enjoyment here. You know, flow is about meeting your potential and also about experiencing happiness. And so this can develop your resilience, finding the flow channel, the flow sweet spot, but it can also be excellent for your well-being. And in the sense that it can help you enhance your happiness and help you fulfill your potential. So flow is nicely connected here to resilience. And maybe that points to one of the reasons why Csikszentmihalyi regards resilience as such an important character trait, as we discussed earlier on.
Yeah.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.